Starting off with a question that bugs many One Piece fans, how does Usopp never run out of his pop greens? Listen, Usopp retrieved all of his pop greens from the forest where he ended up during the 2-year time skip, which is old news. And since then, Usopp has fought countless battles. But how come Usopp still has those pop greens left? Doesn't he run out of those? Actually, Usopp created a flower bed called Usopp's Garden behind Sunnygo, where he grows pop greens in large quantities. But up until now, it has not been depicted in anime or manga canonically. However, he is shown using insecticide on his small garden in a scene from the film One Piece, Film Z. From Usopp onto Franky, did you guys know Franky's hairstyle goes back to how it was prior to the time skip when he gets into the General Franky? Yep, whether it is a mohawk, Liberty spikes, or braids, his hair is always put back in its original form when he enters the General Franky. Now, let's have a little chit-chat about Marines. Have you ever noticed that a typical Marine salutes with their palms facing inward rather than the side of their hand? Which is weirdly funny if you ask me. Well, this is because the sailors have to pull all sorts of ropes on a sailboat to make sure it can sail, and the tar on the ropes makes their hands filthy and black. It would be rude to show those blackened hands to a superior officer, so they salute showing the back of their hand. Sheesh! Oda coming up with these little ideas actually blows my mind. One instance is when a fan asked Oda if Crocodile ever takes a bath or not, because he is particularly weak after getting wet. I swear to God, because bro's drip tops everyone in the One Piece world, even I was curious about his personal hygiene regimen. Look, although all people who use devil fruit are susceptible to water, Crocodile is particularly vulnerable when wet. To put it more accurately, those who have consumed devil fruit are incapable of swimming and are hated by the sea. The sea here can refer to anything from rivers, pools, and baths to any kind of standing water. Rain and dripping water have no effect on devil fruit users, nevertheless. Therefore, hip baths or showers are the most common choices in their case. Now, in Crocodile's case, water is the weakness of his very powers, so his abilities are robbed even in the shower. But it's not like there are enemies around when you take a shower, so he takes them even with his powers being blocked. It is quite ironic then that despite having the name Crocodile, you are terrified of the water. But what's even more ironic is the time when Oda claimed that Aokiji is pretty much edible in his ice form. Kuzan, formerly known as Admiral Aokiji, can change his body into ice by using the ice fruit. A fan wrote in to ask Oda whether Kuzan's body could be turned into kakigori, an ice-based dessert. Oda went along with the joke and said, yes. Additionally, he also added that eating him might be a different story. He might return to Aokiji in your stomach and take control of you. It's clear, eat Aokiji at your own risk. Well, Aokiji's power is sick and all, but I believe that Enel's Rumble fruit is the best Logia in One Piece. And have you ever wondered what the best girl in One Piece, Boa Hancock, would look like if she had eaten it? In one illustration published in One Piece magazine volume 11, Boa Hancock is shown blasting an unseen opponent with the Rumble fruit. God damn, she looks as stunning as ever. Way better than that Wish version of Eminem, Enel. Okay, if you ask me, then Boa's original devil fruit powers are perfectly suited for her, and she can legit take down any opponent using her sheer beauty, until the opponent is Luffy or a blind person. Really though? This takes us on to the next fact, whether Boa's powers would work on Admiral Fujitora or not. Look, we haven't seen their confrontation canonically, but in the video game One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, Fujitora is completely unaffected by Boa Hancock's love fruit, which confirmed our notion that Boa's powers wouldn't work if the opponent is blind. Bringing up Fujitora reminded me that the Marines in One Piece are shown eating curry on a regular basis. Did you know that there is some deep historical significance behind it? Actually, during the Meiji era, many sailors ate nothing but white rice. This caused them to develop beriberi, a nutritional deficiency disorder. To counteract this, curry, which had been introduced to Japan via England, was added to the naval diet. Curry contained thiamine, so it solved the beriberi problem. What's more, it could be made cheaply and could easily serve large groups. Oda has a deep sense of reasoning, even in seemingly insignificant little things. For example, the time when Oda changed the gender of a character just to make her lore accurate. Monet is the only female character in One Piece to have a Logia-type devil fruit, and Oda has a deep reason behind that. See, Monet is modeled after the female yokai known as Yukiana, who is infamous for luring travelers into blizzards where they ultimately meet their demise. At times, Monet is also called Yukiana, which also suggests that the powers of her snow fruits are supposed to hint at this yokai. This is likely why she's female, even though all other Logia users are male. One more example of crazy detailing by Oda is that the names of the previous admirals is based on Japanese legend known as Momotaro. During his travels, Momotaro makes friends with a pheasant, a dog, and a monkey. This was the primary inspiration for the names of the admirals. Aokiji, Akainu, and Kizaru mean blue pheasant, red dog, and yellow monkey. Along with mind-boggling detailing, Oda is also a master of foreshadowing foreshadowing. For instance, in episode 3, Morgan explains the concept of devil fruits, giving the flame fruit as an example, which later turned out to be Ace's devil fruit in the Alabasta arc. Moving on, did you guys know that Arlong is the only known individual in One Piece who was released from Impel Down? See, once you're sent to Impel Down prison, you're unlikely to get out unless you find a way to break out. Only one person has been officially released from prison, and that's Arlong. This occurred subsequent to his childhood buddy Jinbei being designated as one of the 7 Sea Warlords. Guys, have you ever seen a female fishman in One Piece? I didn't remember seeing one, so I did a bit of research on it, and I found that while there are plenty of female merfolk, female fishmen rarely appear. In fact, there's only one with a name. This female fishman is Octopaco, a former love interest of Hachin's. This lack of female fishmen may be why some translators initially assumed that mermaids and fishmen were the same species, with fishmen being male and mermaids being female. It is unclear if this disparity is deliberate or not. One would anticipate a much higher number of hybrids than there are if there were truly intended to be so few fish women. Another thing that bugged me was when Monkey D. Garp was first introduced. He was depicted puffing on a cigar. Nevertheless, later in the series, his smoking habit seems to have disappeared. I'm not sure if he quit smoking or Oda forgot about it. Anyway, did you guys know that dials can also be found outside Skypiea? Yes, you heard it right. The Rumbar Pirates recorded their final performance for Laboon using a tone dial they purchased from a market. Later, Brook sold about 2 million tone dials with his music recorded on them. Furthermore, when something from the manga is animated for the first time, one might expect it to appear in the anime before it has appeared anywhere else. Usually that's true in One Piece, but Zoro's sword, Enma, is an exception. See, Enma was first animated in the 2020 music video for Arashi, Reborn, a 2019 single by the boy band Arashi. The video was a collaboration with Oda that depicted the Straw Hats and the band hanging out and having fun. One thing that almost all of you might have missed is Rayleigh's debut in the series. In fact, Silver's Rayleigh doesn't appear in the series under his own name until chapter 500, but Oda had some of the details planned about him long before that. If you have noticed, an unidentified person yells at Shanks and Buggy in chapter 19. A few wanted to know if that person was their captain, Goldie Roger, or someone else. Oda confirmed this man was actually a young Silver's Rayleigh. Dang, this detail was nuts, but the next one is even cooler. Zoro was in shock when he got the first glimpse of Tashigi because she looked just like his childhood rival, Kuina. However, Tashigi and Kuina have more in common than just their appearance and handiness with a sword. Both of them are named after birds that can fly. Bruh, we have to admit Oda cooked here, just like the time when he came up with Zunesha. Listen, Zunesha's name likely stems from Ganesha, an elephant-headed Hindu god. Moreover, the Hindu myth of the world elephants, who use their bodies to support the earth while perched atop a massive turtle, may have had an impact on its capacity to sustain a society on its back. At last, its punishment may be an allusion to the medieval Christian myth of the wandering Jew, who was cursed to endlessly walk around the world after he mocked Jesus before he was crucified. Next up, we have a dope fact about Ryuma. At Thriller Bark, every zombie was cleansed with salt, or by having Gecko Moria use his devil fruit to sever their shadows. But Ryuma's zombie was different, as it was purified by having his body set on fire, creating a sort of cremation effect. Bro, Ryuma's zombie was Sigma for real! And y'all can become Sigma too. Just subscribe to us for dope One Piece content. Thanks! Anyways, another Sigma is our dual personality wielder, Cavendish, whom we met at Dressrosa. Cavendish, like Blackbeard, Whitebeard, and Alvida, is based on a real-life English explorer and privateer named Thomas Cavendish. A privateer is someone who engages in lawful piracy on behalf of the government. Not only pirates, but Kazuki Oden's legendary sword, Ame no Habakiri, has roots in both mythology and the real world. There is an actual sword with this name that is displayed at the Isunakami Shrine in Tenri, Nara Prefecture. According to Shinto legend, Susanoo vanquished the 8-headed dragon Orochi with the help of this sword. Apart from this, do you guys remember those massive sea kings that Shirahoshi was able to summon during the Fishman Island arc? Some viewers might have noticed that the sea kings look familiar. That's because they're the exact same group of sea kings that first appeared when the Straw Hats entered the Calm Belt. Mentioning sea kings, did you guys know that sea king's meat is considered a delicacy in the One Piece world? It is not surprising that Luffy was not impressed because he does not exactly have gourmet tastes, but it is also Zoro's Zoro's favorite dish, and is usually considered a good one. The Sea Kings are among the most terrifying creatures in the One Piece world, but not every species has a reason to fear them. The banana wani, a fierce crocodile with a banana-shaped lump on its head, is the Sea King's only known predator. There's also the blue gorillas, who have no trouble chopping them up for food, and the giants, who are so strong that they barely fear anyone. Then there is Yuta, a terrifying sea serpent that doesn't prey on Sea Kings, but is considered much more frightening than them, in part due to their poison. The first ever Sea King we witnessed in One Piece was the Lord of the Coast. This mighty sea monster is so responsible that one of the 4 emperors, Shanks, can't even clap. While usually depicted as male, the Lord of the Coast is shown to be female in Set Sail Pirate Crew, a Sony PlayStation JRPG that came out in 2001. In this game, the Lord is not only female, it also has 4 pink babies. Bruh, I feel horrible for her because Luffy hit her so hard. He should not punch a woman. Other than Sea Kings, there are also sea beasts. Mumu is a sea beast that resembles a cow and was once thought to be a Sea King. Sea cats are also sea beasts, who strongly resemble Maneki Neko, a figurine that's meant to bring about good fortune. These creatures are considered sacred in Alabasta, which is why Vivi is so angry when the Straw Hats suggest eating one. Due to the fact that Alabasta is partially based on ancient Egypt, Egyptian culture serves as the inspiration for the Egyptians' veneration of sea cats. Not only is Alabasta based on the real world, even the concept of Denden Mushi is based on a real-life experiment. Yes, sir! In the 1850s, French occultist Jacques Toussaint Benoit created a device called the Pasolinic Sympathetic Compass. According to Benoit, snails generate a special fluid when they mate. This liquid gave snails the ability to communicate telepathically, which humans could use to send messages. Well, this experiment failed miserably, and Benoit disappeared after the first test, which was a failure. But the concept got a second life in the form of Denden Mushi. Dang. Oda is always spot on with his research, just like us when making these videos. Click this video to find out 14 One Piece facts that almost none of you know.